Hello guys, this is a Creative Kingdom EB and I welcome you all according to your time zone. If today is your first time, you are highly welcome. Do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel. Guys, we all knew that there's this fight have been going on between the US, the Israel and Iran. This fight between them, Iran's actions have been controlling the Strait of Hormuz. They have been launching long-range strikes and expanding the geographic scope of these conflicts. And this conflict have been interpreted internationally as a destabilizing and threat to the broader maritime and geopolitical stability, if I may say. Now, as we speak, Russia and China have sent their warship to the Strait of Hormuz. Listen.
They're doing together right now is a lot more than just showing off warships. Look at what happened just weeks ago. In the Strait of Hormuz, China's guided missile destroyer Tangshan pulled up alongside Russia's frigate Marshal Shaposhnikov and a fleet of Iranian vessels. They called it Maritime Security Belt 2026, the biggest joint naval drill those three have ever run. But this wasn't just for show. They practiced electronic warfare, sharing targeting data, coordinating drone operations. That's the kind of training you do when you're building a real alliance at sea. Until recently, Iran's navy was mostly small, fast boats operating on their own. Now those boats are being wired into Russian and Chinese communication networks. So when you look at the Gulf today, you're not seeing three separate navies. You're seeing a single coordinated presence, and that changes how every other navy has to operate in that narrow stretch of water. 21 million barrels of oil pass through a strip of water that's barely 30 miles wide. That's roughly 1 out of every 5 barrels the world uses every day. Right now, that strip is under more pressure than it's been in years. The Strait of Hormuz carries 20 to 30% of all seaborne oil, about 21 million barrels daily. In the first 10 days of this month alone, 10 tankers were struck or targeted. Commercial traffic is down roughly 2/3 compared to normal levels. That drop shows up in freight rates. A very large crude carrier, the kind that moves 2 million barrels, now costs around $460,000 a day to charter. That's not a number Wall Street throws around lightly. The strait has always been a choke point, but what makes today different is that it's no longer just Iran and the US in a standoff. You've got Russian warships, Chinese destroyers, and a shadow fleet moving oil in the...
Oh boy, now they listening to what China and Russia, what they are doing. Both China and Russia, China and Russia at different time deployed warship for joint operation or patrol. Oh, listen.
In the dark, all operating in the same crowded water. The margin for error is getting very, very thin. Right now, somewhere off the coast of Oman, a tanker has gone dark. No transponder signal, no destination listed, and it's about to meet another ship for a handoff you're not supposed to see. This is the shadow fleet, hundreds of aging tankers moving oil outside the usual shipping lanes. Just this month, Russian vessels have been doing ship-to-ship transfers off Oman, each one swapping roughly 325,000 barrels of crude in the middle of the night. They turn off their tracking systems near Iranian ports so no one can follow where the oil ends up. These aren't rogue operations.
They hear so, my people. For my own humble opinion, I perceive the action of China and Russia as a calculated game of strategic interest rather than a straightforward alliance with Iran. Game of interest. Game of interest, my people. Everything in life is a game of interest. So instead of just, straight support for Iran, this is a strategic game of interest. Power projection without commitment by sending warship and doing joint exercise. China and Russia signal influence in the region without entering direct combat. This is a classic move. Shows present, make others conscious, but avoid the cost of war. This is a strategic move. Let us go ahead to listen to this.
They're a system, a parallel oil trade that bypasses sanctions and dodges the Strait of Hormuz altogether. Some get intercepted. The French Navy has boarded a few in the Mediterranean. But for every tanker stopped, a dozen more keep moving. What you're watching is a new logistics network being built in real time. It's slow, it's messy, but it's working. And it's one of the reasons global energy markets haven't completely seized up, even as the strait gets more dangerous by the day. If you pull up a live ship tracker over the Gulf right now, you'll see something strange. Tankers that have nothing to do with China are broadcasting one specific message: Chinese vessel and crew. It started as a handful of ships. Now at least 23 are doing it. The message is sent through the automatic identification system, the same system ships use to avoid collisions. But this isn't about navigation, it's about protection. The thinking is simple. Iran does not want to hit. Russia has no interest in targeting one either. So by claiming a Chinese connection, crews are trying to signal neutrality in a strait where being on the wrong side can get you struck. It's an unofficial shield, and it tells you everything about how the waters are being managed right now. There's no international patrol guaranteeing safety. Instead, you have an informal filter. Your perceived nationality determines whether you're a target or not. That's not how global shipping is supposed to work, but it's how it's working today.
You listen to that. This is all about protecting economic and strategic interests. That is all I can interpret this to be. China relies heavily on Middle Eastern oil, while Russia benefits geopolitically by challenging US influence. Their deployments are aimed at safeguarding shipping routes and maintaining leverage in global negotiations. Here is the diplomatic sidelining. Both are sending a message to the US, NATO, and regional powers. Which message? That we are watching about your actions. It is a form of deterrence wrapped in a cooperative cover with Iran. You see these people? Essentially, Russia and China are playing a risk management and influence game by supporting Iran enough to protect their interests, but keeping enough distance to avoid getting dragged into the direct conflict. You see them? So my people, let us listen to this video once again. And tell me what is your take in all of this. Thank you. You see the purposes why they are sending their warship. So let's listen to this.
Today, one of the world's biggest oil exporters just built an off-ramp from the Strait of Hormuz, and they're already using it a lot. Saudi Arabia has a pipeline running west across its desert to the Red Sea port of Yanbu. It's been there for years, but right now, that pipeline is working overtime. Exports through Yanbu are up 330% compared to before the current crisis. That means the kingdom is no longer a hostage to the strait. If Hormuz becomes too dangerous, they can bypass it entirely. The oil keeps flowing, just through a different door. This shift matters for two reasons. First, it takes some pressure off global supply, but second, it sends a message. Gulf states are adapting to a world where the strait is no longer reliably open. They're building
I
workarounds
told you, then doing this, they are sending a message. Is of what purposes are they sending their worship? To show their strength, to also send a message by also practicing together with their military, by training their military for issues like this, and to prevent threats, make others think twice before acting.